Hello everyone, how are you today? Thank you for joining on my another live stream. Alright, so today it's the 13th of June 2020 on Saturday. So I hope you're having a great weekend on Saturday today. So as the title says, right, today I will talk about one of the legendary Japanese trader whose name is CIS today. So every Saturdays, right, this is a weekly program guide on my YouTube channel, and every day, basically, I do the lives. So today, every Saturdays, I talk about psychology or money management, or I will introduce one of the, one of the Japanese traders. I think that's very profound, and I will talk about them. So, yeah, a couple of weeks ago, I talked about BNF, and I got lots of requests to talk about CIS, who is actually the active trader right now. So I will talk about him today. I already created the PDF, the PowerPoint file, and I will talk about him based on that explanation. All right, so if you already like today's live and today's topic, please press the good button and make sure to subscribe and hit the bell button so that you get notified as I do these lives almost every day. If not, then I will upload a new video instead, so that at least you can learn something from my channel every day. Alright, so before starting anything, just to start with, right, all this knowledge is basically based on my own experience. So when you take trades, please do with your own risks. Okay? Alright, so here we go. Alright, so let's see who's here. Alright, thank you for joining, everyone. Good to see you. Good to see you. Alright. Yeah, I got lots of comments today too, and lots of joiners. Very nice to see you. Thank you for joining, although this is Saturday, right? Yeah, thank you for coming here to study something here and about the market and forex and trades, basically in general. All right. Thank you everyone for joining. Konbanwa. All right. Good night or good evening. All right. Good morning, good afternoon, depending on where you are. Thanks for joining. Oh, Amikar, thank you for joining on this on my Ichimoku community. All right, so make sure to click on the community tab on YouTube and scroll down so that you get the link to Discord where you can get all the perks. Right, so Amilcar, once again, thank you for joining and stay gold. All right. So let's see. All right, so here is the cover page of this my presentation today. All right, so yeah, CIS is actually one of the legendary Japanese trader who has been taking trades for almost like 20 years now, in about like 18-19 years now. Yeah, so this is the icon of him, right? As you can see it here. Usually he actually, this is his icon, and he uses in his Twitter. Actually, he is active Twitter. He actually tweets almost every day. So sometimes I check his tweets and refer to it. So right, and also it says the man who moves the Nikkei. And actually this is the title of his book, right? Written in 2018, right? He used to be called a man who moves Nikkei because his asset is very big. So I will talk about all these on today's live. Alright, so here we go. So, like I said before, right, because I got these comments, right, to talk about CIS today, like a nice video. Hope you also make similar video about CIS trader. And can you post about CIS too, right? Can you share the stories of CIS also, right? I've got lots of these comments on that YouTube, and also I've got lots of emails to talk about him. And that's why I decided to talk about him today. So, yeah, so this one, right, this icon, it looks like exactly like the one from the Super Family computer, right? The like old Final Fantasy, right? They're all dots and within the game, and that's right. Actually, if you get that way, that is right, because he was a game player. He was a serious game player, and he is still into the games a lot. So he is a serious game player as of now too. So that's why I think he created this, like, icon with like a little old version. And here is his Twitter actually. This is his active Twitter account, right? and you can probably you can search CIS and find this account, but at the same time you get like lots of like scammers account too. So make sure that you find the real account, which has the over 400k subscribers and followers here on this Twitter. This is his real account, and here he uses this icon, right? And that's why I'm using that one too on this presentation too. But yeah, he's been talking and tweeting almost like every day, right? He tweets a couple of times in a day too, right? For example, on this one, he talks about Nikkei, right? Bank of Japan has been, putting lots of money into the banks, and that is, he talks about that on the Twitter, right? And also he tweets about his trades almost every day, right? And sometimes he tweets about games, right? Which is he's really into. So yeah, this dot looks like one of the old games, like a Final Fantasy. If you already know, right? I'm the Final Fantasy generation. I used to play these games, right, when I was in a young age. So yeah, like there are like dotted characters like this in Final Fantasy when it was launched in this family computer, Super Family computers, right? Nintendo. So yeah, actually so you can know that how he's into the game, right? So that was a little story behind, but yeah, so here is the rough sketch of CIS, right? I will talk more deeper and deeper about him, but yeah, just to get you the overview here. He is actually one of the most famous traders in Japan, right? His Twitter over 400k followers now, as you can see. He's got 426k as of today. And he's born in 1979, right? Which is also posted in Wikipedia, right? He was born in 1979, and his real name is unknown. So his real name is unknown actually. It's not revealed, but we know why he named himself CIS. Do you know? Can you guess? I already gave you the hint. That's because he was so much into the game, and he was into the fighting games especially. Yeah, I forgot which fighting game it was. It was Street Fighter or any other fighting games, but he was so much into fighting games, and he was good actually. He was a very good game player at that time. So his handle name on that game was actually CIS, and CIS is actually, we can call it shisu in Japanese. We can call it shisu in Japanese, and shisu means dead, right? Already dead. So yeah, because every time he fights with another one, right, he always wins. So and that's why he named himself shisu or CIS. So that it actually implies that the anyone who challenges me will be dead. So he's quite a character actually. He's quite a character. I like his characteristic, and he's a very funny guy. Sometimes he's got the big mouth. He's got the funny guy. But yeah, that's where actually the name is coming from. So CIS means dead, because he used to play the fighting games and he never lose, right? So everybody who challenges himself will actually losing, and that's why he named himself Shisu, because the opponent will be dead. So yeah, but the real name is unknown actually, right? And also he trades Forex and stock market, futures and bonds and real estate. All right, and actually he turned $30,000 account into $230 million worth right now in about 18 years so far. So, and he published a book, right? Like I said before, he published a book in 2018, which is called Philosophy of a Man Who Moves Nikkei Just by Himself. So that's how he's proud of himself, right? I can move Nikkei by myself because I've got the money. That's how he is. So, and but he didn't get any royalty, right, from the book. And yeah, I read this book a couple of times, and to prepare for this presentation today, I read that one twice. And he's got pretty much like a straightforward like words on this book, and I think that's because he doesn't receive any royalties from bookstore. So yeah, I like that book too. So he's quite a character, right? And also he also held a live talk show last year in 2019. So actually I'm referring to his talk in 2019 and created this whole presentation today. Right, and also he actually talks with BNF too. Recently, he said that he cannot get hold of BNF recently, but yeah, he used to talk about the market with BNF, and they were exchanging some thoughts and feels. All right, so that was the overview, and we'll get into more about the details. Right, so here is his historical asset growth, how he has been growing his account. Right. So he started the trading when he was 21 years old. When he was a university student, he started to take trades. Right, and he started stock trading with 3 million yen, which is worth about $30,000 US dollars. And actually, he grew it up to almost like $100,000, right, which was a great success, more than 300%, right? He grew it over, almost close to 100,000 US dollars. But later it dropped to 10k USD worth in half a year. So basically, right, there was in the beginning, right, he used to have like ups and downs, like the one we have right now, right? We usually have that, right? Whenever you start tradings, right, there are ups and downs, and he was not an exception. He used to have some ups and downs too in the beginning. But later in 2003, when he was 24 years old, his account grew up to 600,000 US dollars. And he was investing pension and fund and small size stocks at that time. All right. Oh, so sorry. I don't think I will come back to your comments and questions if you have, later on this presentation. But let me just talk first, okay? And whenever you have any comments afterwards, right? If you're replaying this one, right? If you're watching this archive, please put that on the comment below so that I can read through and reply to you too. All right, so that was the 3 years. Actually, he's got the big result here already. But actually, the story did not end there. The next year, on 2004, when he was 25, it grew up to $3 million. And then on the next year, 2005, he grew up to $30 million. Right, and there was a very famous incident, right, or the big news, shocking news in Japan with the JCOM. Right, and BNF was actually trading that one too. And like I said in the BNF's presentation, he got lots of money too by this one. And CIS also got so much money, right? He gained $6 million in about 1 hour. So that was a great success, and he was not an exception, right? But what's different from BNF, right, between BNF and CIS is that he actually, once he got the profit, he exited as soon as possible, and he cashed it out to the bank of the cash because he was afraid of the government taking away his profit, right? Because it was so big. So that's why he was kind of risk hedging that way, right? He exit and just cash it out to the bank, his personal bank account, and he took it out. Yeah, actually, that everything's written on the blog called public blog called Nichannel in Japanese. So yeah, that's how I made, and how he made, and he cashed it out. 6 million US dollars at that time. Yeah, BNF was keep holding it, right? He kept holding it until I think next day or next day. He kept holding the part of his positions on this JCOM. But BNF took everything out. So that was a difference, right? And also next year, 2006, the account grew up to $42 million. And 5 million US dollars lost in a day at the live door shock. So there was another incident on the next year, 2006 in Japan, right? And there was a e-commerce company, right? Young and very strong e-commerce company, which is called LiveDoor. And he was actually, taking those positions, right? But in a day, right, the stock spiked downwards, and he lost $5 million in about a day. So it was quite shocking, and he talks all about that in that blog called Ni Channel in Japan, and we can still see his posts. But the on Ni Channel, right, blog, he wrote like this: "Os ora son Goku." And if you know about Japanese, right, you might notice a joke of him. But this is actually coming from Dragon Ball Z, right? If you know Dragon Ball Z, there is a main character called Son Goku, right? So I have the picture here. So let me just show it to you real quick. So this one, right? So this guy is the Son Goku, right? And usually he says, Os ora Goku. That means like, hey, I'm Son Goku, as it says here. I'm Son Goku, right? And but he wrote, I'm Os ora Son Goku, right? And Son Goku means the main character, the name of the main character on this Dragon Ball Z, right? Dragon Ball. But the Go-oku means like Go means 5, right? 5 in Japanese, and Oku means 500 million. 500 million. Yeah. So Go-oku, right? Go-oku yen is actually worth about $5 million. So actually he was joking himself that he wrote, hey, I am losing $5 million, by referring to Dragon Ball Z's Goku's words here. So it was quite shocking news too at that time. But that's how he is. He was joking himself, and but he still takes trades, right? And he was getting married, right, with his wife at that time. But his wife was also calm, and that was actually a big argument, right? Well, not the argument, but big, interesting news at that time in Japan. So after that, however, right, on the next year, 2007, he grew his account to he's still growing his account, right, on the way. And on the 2007, however, he lost another $6 million for the Lehman shock, right, global economy recession. But in 2010, when he was 31 years old, the account became $100 million. All right, and then 3 years ago, he was trading Japanese stocks worth $17 billion US dollars worth, right, which was about 0.5% of entire volume in Tokyo Stock Exchange. And that's why he called himself, I can move Nikkei's Tokyo Stock Exchange rates. Right, I am the one, right? I'm a single person who can change the rate on this Tokyo Stock Exchange, and that's what he's proud of, right? So, and actually that is a book of the title recently that's published. So and in 2015, when he was 36 years old, the count went all the way up to $200 million US dollars. Right, he gained $23 million through the China shock, and then recently in 2018, right, 2 years ago, his account is now becoming $230 million US dollars worth now. So so this is the rough sketch of how he grew his account, right, since 2000. The year of 2000, when he was 21 years old, of this $30,000 US dollars worth, up to like these days, right? In 18 years, he's gaining 230 million US dollars now. So in 2020, I'm not really sure exactly how much he gets right now, but I think his account is still growing right now. All right. And so let me talk about his strategy, right? So he talks a lot about his strategy too, and he changes over time. And actually, this is information from the talk in 2019, the live talk. But he was saying that he was actually watching over 500 stocks now, right? And he's using daily chart, looking at 5 moving average and 25 moving average, and he's looking at the angle of the moving averages and the crosses, right? And also the Kyrie, right? The estrangement, right? How far the price gets away from these moving averages, he sees that too, right? And also the price action, he values price actions too. So his technique is pretty much simple. His technique is very simple, and he says simplicity is the best. That's what he says actually. So he's currently using 2 monitors now only, right? He said he used to have like 7 monitors in front of himself, but now he only uses 2 monitors, he says. And he's mostly looking at the Nikkei futures and the USD JPY and the Euro JPY, right? And he is a trend follower. He follows a trend to price action, and he contrarian trades to news. So technical analysis, right? He follows a trend, but whenever there is a news, usually he takes contrarian trading. He goes against the trend, or he reacts to the news, and he takes opposite direction of his positions. And also, this is what he says, right? He says that the corporate window dressing, right? Sometimes we see like there was a window dressing in Toshiba, right, in Japan, accounting fraud, basically, right? When that's happening, that's a chance, he says. And also, if there's some kind of shocks there in Japan or in the world, right, that is a chance. That's what he says. That's when he increases leverages and he takes positions actively. So right now there is a corona shock right now, right, in Japan too. So I'm not really sure how he was taking trades and how he was making profit, growing profit, but I'm sure he's active right now because we are under corona shock right now. So he is also looking at the news of the fundamental news of the companies, all in the global economies as well as Japanese economies. So that's what he's saying. And also he looks for distortion within the market, right, between actual economy and the current price. Sometimes he says that sometimes against the world economy, the market goes up and down, or the price itself does not react to the market sometimes, right? And that's what he calls distortion in the market. So he precisely looks at the news, and also he looks at Nikkei futures and USD JPY, Euro JPY, and he tries to capture where the distortion is happening in the market, right? Where there is a divergence between the actual economy news to the current price, and he takes trades too that way. So, and he says that the buy rate capped companies under recession and hold them in long term, so that you can ride on the trend to the next booming economy. So that's why he likes to take trades in the recession, because usually the average value becomes cheaper on the stock markets, right? So that's when he prepares for his buys, and he keeps holding it until the next booming economy actually happens. That's what he says. And also, the entry point is not something to look for or something to try to find, but he said that it's something that it's given by the market. So basically, right, he is a trend follower in technical analysis. So he says that he's not really trying to look for a trend or capture the trade chance, but instead, right, those kind of chances are kind of brought from the market to him, and that's the mindset actually he has. All right, so yeah, his way to take trades is pretty simple, but I think the sense of him and also his wisdom is very deep here, so that he went to the level where nobody can actually follow him. So sometimes I look at his Twitters, right? He's got the Twitter account, right, active, but sometimes I'm not really sure what he's saying. Yeah, because the Twitter is too limited, right, in terms of the numbers of the words, right? Sometimes he clams all these informations into this small area, but also he knows a lot, right? He knows a lot about the market. He knows about the economy, what's happening in the market, and he has his own view about the Japanese economy right now. So yeah, so that's what he says. Actually, for example, on this one, he says Bank of Japan power is too much, right? And he says Japanese economy is this is only Japanese economy is like how to say, like a strange or something like that. So that's what he says actually, right? So he tweets like this, and he gives his own view about the market and what's happening right now in Japanese economies. He doesn't really talk much about US stocks or US market or overseas market, but he mainly looks at Japanese market and takes trades Japanese stocks recently. All right, and then yeah, so here is a little backbone of him, right? And I thought this is interesting. That's why I decided to talk about this one too. But this is little episode in his elementary school age, right? His mindset was originally built within the lottery at a local snack store when he was an elementary school kid. So usually we have like a small snack shop, right? It's not like a big supermarket shop, but owned by one family, right? There's a snack shop. And sometimes, right, when I was an elementary school kid too, I went to those shops and got some little snacks, right? Very cheap, but very tasty snacks, right, on the way home from the school. So and then usually, right, sometimes there are like a lotteries like that on those snacks, right? Let's say you pay like 10 or you pay like $1. Right, you pay $1 to the shop and you can get the lottery, and depending on the result you get what you get, right? That kind of lottery was pretty famous in Japan on these snack shops, and that's what I mean by this snack shops in the local stores. But he and his friend bought 2 whole boxes of this lottery. So usually you pick one, you cannot see inside, but you just pick one and you see the number and you give it to the store manager, and that person will give you back the snack, right? But he and his friend decided to buy the whole box actually, and he tried to find what is the winning rate or what is the expected value is on that box, on that particular box. So he and his friend actually bought 2 whole boxes of the lottery. I'm not really sure why the store actually accepted that offer, but somehow, right, they got 2 full boxes, right? And they found that the win numbers are exactly the same. I mean, the winning rate was exactly the same between the box, and also the number itself was exactly the same. He didn't refer to like which exactly number it was, but let's say on one side, if the win was 5, then on another side it was 5 too. Right, on the other side, when it was like, let's say like 15, then on another box, the win number was 15 also. So he found some correlation between the boxes, right, and they were identical basically, and that's what he found, right? That's what he found, and that's when he realized that there is something called expected value and patterns in any games. He already realized that when he was an elementary school kid. And that's how he got involved on these investing and also games and all these other attractions. So, and it actually becomes his backbone of investing as of now, until now. So, yeah, So that was a little history and backbone of his philosophy. And let me introduce more about his trade philosophy, right? So I divided into two categories. One is psychological management and one is money management. So let me introduce his psychological management and how he actually says about it. Okay, and actually, I really learned from him too. And my mindset, right, and also my money management is pretty much the same as he is right now. So these are the points basically that I feel it's interesting and I learned the most. Okay, so first one is be careful. He says that be careful with the scam or the fraud, which suggests you to manage your money. There is no one who wins 100% if he wins 100%, right? He wouldn't, and 100%. And if he wins 100%, he wouldn't manage somebody's money, right? First of all. So don't trust somebody who says 100% winning or constantly winning and things like that, right? There are wins and there are losses, and that's a reality, right? So that's something that he warns, because in Japan too, there are lots of scammers out there in this, trading world, trading market. So that's something that he warns. And also he says that the pursuing efficiency is very key to become successful. He knows that the market is all about uncertainty, but constantly look for the way to win over time. Then profit comes along naturally. So I think this is also a true talk, right? So basically what we can do is, So we can try our best, right? We can pursue how to be efficient to the market, and the rest will be just brought automatically, right? And this is his mindset, and this is also my mindset too. Because, the market is uncertain, and we cannot, change the market, right? We have no power to change the market, especially in Forex market, right? The volume is, $6 trillion every day. So one power is very small. There are big boys, but even them, right? They cannot really move spikes up and downs usually, right? Throughout like a couple of days or a couple of weeks, it's impossible. So in that sense, I believe that nobody can control the market. So we have to learn to adapt to the market instead. So that's what he says also, right? And also, decision making should be done alone, right? No one praises you or no one comforts you whenever you win or lose. Therefore, it's meaningless to waver between hope and despair. And it's just a waste of time. That's what he says. So, and I think so too, right? Sometimes it's nice to encourage, right, with each other. But when it comes to decision making, that is your responsibility, right? And that is your decision. It's not somebody's decision. It shouldn't be. It shouldn't be, right? And that's why I don't use the signals, or I don't offer even the signals. I don't want to offer any signals, or, I don't run the EAs. And that's because, right, decision making should be done individually. And everybody needs to take responsibility on your trades. And that's what he says here, right? And that's why, taking notes, taking trade journals is very important. And you have to look back on your own trades, because that's the only source to learn by yourself, to learn from your past trades. Okay, and also he says in 2006 he struggled a lot with stomach ache, and his hair were actually coming off. The number of white blood cell became actually 3 times more than usual due to intensive concentration and excited condition. So 2006 was the time when he lost $5 million, right, on one day. And on that day, he said that he's got lots of pressure, but he was so intensive to the market, so that his number of white cell, right, became 3 times more, right? And that's usually what happens in our body, right? Usually our number of white cell blood will increase whenever there is a tension within the body to protect from our body from the injury, and this is like the primitive function on our body in general. So that's what he says actually. In this 2006, he was actually having a like a 3 times more of the white blood cell than usual, and that's how how intensive he was. So yeah, that is the part of the psychological management, right? So if you have a chance, you can test your own number of white blood cells, and if it's over like twice or 3 times, then you have to be careful, right? You may be overworking, or maybe your tension might be too much at that time. Alright, so that was the psychological management part. And let me talk about money management too, briefly about him. So he says that the trading part-time is recommended while full-time job. You struggle when you don't have enough money to eat tomorrow, or when you urge to make money every day, right? You struggle. So have enough money. So like I said before, you have to have the account to trade, and also you have to have the account to live, to eat. Okay, so it should be separated, and this account to take trade should be, you shouldn't touch on that one, right? Or you shouldn't touch on this living money either, right? It should be separated. So you have to have 2 wallets, and actually that's what he says too, because you struggle, right? If you are trying to become a trader or trying to become a full trader suddenly, right? Sometimes you might struggle when you lose this overtime, or when you don't have any trade chances overtime in a couple of days, you might feel struggle, even though you're not losing, right? Or sometimes, if you urge to make money in 1 day or quickly, right? You're trying to catch the quick money in 1 day or 2 days, then also that will be a struggle too. So you have to have enough room in terms of the time and money to take trades, and that's why he recommends to take part-time trading while doing full-time job, okay, to be psychologically safer, and also the money management too. And also he says that trade logically, right? Trade logically, even if it ends up with a loss, think it was a good trade because I took a trade where expected value was higher, right? So sometimes we might tend to focus on the losses itself, but in my opinion, or this is what he says also, but there are good losses and there are bad losses, right? And good losses are actually this one, right? Whenever you take trades where expected value is higher and where the risk to reward ratio is higher, then that is a good loss. Okay, even if it's loss, it's a good loss. But if you don't know about that and just taking trades from a gut feeling, for example, that will be a bad loss because you didn't know what you're doing. In contrast, in my opinion, there are good wins and bad wins too, right? And basically it's the same thing, right, about the loss too. So yeah, you have to have like 4 results, right? Actually, not simply win or lose, but there are good loss, bad loss, right? And also there are good wins and bad wins. We always have to think about these 4 results in your head, and which one the trade that was very important whenever you look back your own trades, okay? And finally, he says he is not interested in game with random chance. So he always take trades, or he always play games, right? Whenever he plays game, he plays game only when the expected value is higher, right? So when it's random, like a casino, right? Or maybe not casino, but the like a slot machine sometimes in casino, right? Which is random, or a coin toss, or anything, right? Anything that's random, he doesn't want to take that because he cannot really calculate the expected value every time he plays the game. So he is more interested towards the games or the market, right? Market condition where he can expect the bigger reward than the loss, and that's when every time he plays. So I think that is important too, and that's why I introduced that word to you too today. Alright, so this is a rough sketch, right? So I talked about his trading psychology, money management psychology, and also his strategy too here, right? Along with his little episode in elementary school kid. Okay. Alright, so it's already about like a 40 minute now. So it's I will switch to the membership live afterwards. But I hope you enjoyed today's live about CIS, and I will review your comments after the membership live tonight. I will review your comments and I will look through. And if you have more comments and questions about CIS, you can always email me, or you can put your comment below box on the archive so that I can review them too. Alright, so that's about it. And actually there are more, right? There are more that I'm going to talk about him, and also BNF too. And actually there is a conversation between CIS and BNF, which I also introduce in future live too. So you can expect that one too, right? Okay, so alright, so I hope you enjoyed the CIS show today, okay? So every Saturday I talk about psychology or money management like this, because the market is closed anyways, and I will do the forecast on all the pairs that I'm watching, and also the oil, gold, and some indexes tomorrow on every Sundays. So that's why I don't really talk about any market today. Okay, so tomorrow I will be doing again, right, on the this weekly Forex forecast by Ichimoku Kinko Hyo. So if you're interested, please join. The live will be taking place at the same time tomorrow, every week, every day. Okay, so for those who are joining on public one, I will see you tomorrow. And for those who are Ichimoku members, I will see you on the membership live later. Alright, so everyone, I hope you have a great rest of the weekend, great Sunday, and stay healthy, stay gold. Alright, bye for now. Mata ne, thank you.